All right. So welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today for our next Amplify AEC Conference and Conversations live stream. We have been chatting with some of our amazing speakers about the sessions they'll be leading in Atlanta. I am Sarah Hoff, the program chair for the SMPS Amplify AEC Planning Committee and business development leader for Woods Bagot. So this year, Amplify AEC is really focusing on creating hands-on, engaging learning environments as we return to in-person events, which I have to say after this will be almost 3 years that we actually get to be together again. So really very excited about it. And also really happy to have Pam joining us today as one of our Launchpad speakers. And she's going to talk a little bit about her session, How to Audit Your Marketing. So welcome, Pam.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm just going to give a quick little synopsis of your workshop. So your workshop, How to Audit Your Marketing, is going to be talking about shifting marketing efforts from reaction mode to proactive mode, which I'm pretty sure this means every single person at the conference will attend your session, because that is always the biggest challenge, right? And you'll be giving everyone tools to examine what is and isn't working for your brand, your staff, growth, along with some helpful tips and tricks to make your marketing impactful. Some very lofty goals.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. So why don't you give us a little bit of, take some time to introduce yourself and give us a little bit of your background and how you've ended up where you have.
Okay. Well, like all AEC marketers, it was not a straight line, of course. I actually started in theater. I've been doing marketing for a very, very, very long time, pre-internet and everything. And when I graduated college, I graduated with MA and BA in theater and did theater marketing for several years, then moved on to a living history museum. And then I had a architect friend who is my goddaughter's father. And he was working at a firm and was telling me about what they do and what's been happening in their world. And as we kept talking, I'm like, well, I know how to do that. You obviously don't have anybody that can help you. And so I helped them on their website, just kind of on the side, and then started meeting VPs and president. And it was kind of like this long, like 1.5 year long process before I made that shift. But what I love about AEC is the fact that it's very similar to arts marketing because you're building something, you're creating something. And I loved that aspect. And so AEC was a perfect fit. And ironically, before I started with the firm on the first day, I went to an SMPS event that I found out. I was like, okay.
What is this?
What is this? I talked to a printer friend of mine who was in Dallas and said, I work for this, one of my clients is an engineering firm, and he's told me about this group. I was like, great. She connected me. And he said, actually, Fort Worth has just started a chapter, and the firm was in Fort Worth. And I was like, okay, great. Called him up. Do you mind if I do something and represent you before I start? And they were like, okay, sure, great. And they were, thrilled that I was taking the initiative.
Right. Yeah, no one minds if you represent them before it's official.
Absolutely. And so I walked into this first session. It happened to be about proposals. And the people were so kind and handed me cards and were great. Our company actually works with yours and blah, 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 blah. Fantastic. And the person leading the proposal session was Julie Schaefer. And which is so ironic. Just bizarre. Everything happens for a reason.
It all comes full circle at some point.
It all comes full circle. So then, Julie and I, through the years, had worked together on board. And when she started her consultant firm, the company I started with, I brought her in. We were her first client. And I brought her in to do headshots for the team because, of course they had never really had headshots, one of those. And it just kind of kept going. And so when she started her firm, I was so excited for her, and we'd always talked for years about, it'd be great to really work together, da, da, da. And I worked for a couple more firms, like a crazy person. I kept just working for other firms. I was like, no, I can stay inside a firm. And then finally I was like, you know what? Were you serious about, really working together? And she was like, yeah,
Okay, great. Where have you been all this time? I've been waiting for you.
I was like, okay. And actually this year is Schaefer Creative's 10th anniversary. Yay.
Oh man, that's amazing. Congrats.
And it's awesome. It's awesome. And I've been with Schaefer Creative for 3 years, almost 3 years now. And, it's never looked back. I love the idea that I get to help multiple clients, and we help the A, we help the E, we help the C. And so it's never the same. It's always something a little different. And I love being able to work with all these technical people, but still get my marketing geek on with my marketing geek pals. And so, it's just been great. And it's so ironic that SMPS was the first thing I did. And I met someone that I've been working with for forever. So, and you know how SMPS is. I went to the first event. They were like, hey, I got a membership. And then all of a sudden I was frozen elect. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. I think, that's the one thing I've always really appreciated about SMPS, local events, conferences, things like that is, I've been to many, many industry conferences, and sometimes they feel a little bit intimidating, right? Especially if you've never been to one before, if you don't know anybody. The SMPS events are always very warm and welcoming. And you feel like you're really in it together.
Mm-hmm.
So which kind of leads me a little bit to your topic, right, of marketing audits.
Mm-hmm.
So what made you think, when we put out the call for speakers, hey, you know what, this is a topic I really think is important and I really think should be part of the conference?
Well, I am, like I mentioned, I'm a total marketing geek. I'm a marketing chick. I love the marketing aspect. And being in the nonprofit, you don't have any money to hire consultants or anything. No help. So you learn every single solitary aspect of marketing. Mm-hmm. Like you name it, I've even done telemarketing. I was terrible at it. Terrible. But I tried. I know how to tell people how to do it. I know how it works. But I don't like it. But you learn all these aspects, you build your toolbox. Mm-hmm. But if you have your toolbox and you know how to do all this stuff, it's useless unless you have that foundation in the marketing audit. And I love that digging deep in. And for some reason, when I was inside companies, and this is AC as well as my previous life, for over 25 years, I would start at a company, I would see something that needed to be fixed, or I was hired to fix something. And that marketing audit component is so incredibly essential, and not just for fixing, to making sure you're doing the right things and going the right direction. So when the call for speakers came out, I was like, oh, this would be really cool.
So, without giving too much away about the session, what do you think is the biggest takeaway that someone's going to get?
I hope that people realize it's a journey. It's not a one and done, and it can be done. And you can take it off. And there's no quick fix, but it can be taken off in bite-sized chunks. It doesn't have to be this great gigantic mountain that you have to figure out how to get up. So that's my hope. That's my
Got it. Yeah. So thinking about taking it a bit at a time, like you can audit this component or this component. Yes. You don't have to try to tackle everything all at once. Because I think I would say from my perspective in the years that I've been doing this, right, is like, I think that's always where people get stuck a little bit, right? Is like, they feel like they have to answer everything all at once. And then it almost becomes so daunting that you don't really do any of it.
That you get frozen. You get completely overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And
then
I've
definitely
been
being
there.
in reactionary mode, right? Like,
yes. Yes. Because my favorite thing is, like, I've had people ask me a lot of different questions about marketing. And one of my favorite questions that I've ever been asked and have been asked repeatedly, so what's new in marketing? Well, there may be something new, but we may not need to do it.
Right. Yeah, you still need the basics, right? It's all about the foundation that you're building off of, not the tools and the new shiny thing.
Right. And, as I've gone along in my career, one of the, when websites were just images, I was at a theater and the executive director came back and had gone to a conference and heard the word e-commerce. And so all of a sudden we had to run to do e-commerce. I was like, oh, okay.
Buy my architecture on our website.
Yeah. Well, and there was, number one, there was barely a website, and there was, no component for selling tickets yet. It was like, because I've been around for a while. So I was that handheld thing, writing things down. It was part of my life. But we figured it out. And we beta tested for a ticketing software and we figured it out. But we were able to take a step back and really look at it. And everything in AEC has been that way. Because so many firms, an executive may not think you need social media because they don't understand it. Not necessarily the case, Who are you talking to?
Right. Yeah. Because it's also not necessarily the audience that you currently have. Right. I think that's one thing that I always see is that everyone says, these are our current targets. How do we speak to them without really thinking about their future targets? Right.
Right. And so many firms live in the here and now that I think it's a big part of a marketer's job to help them remember, you got to look at what's coming too.
Right. So what do you think is the biggest challenge or change that's going to happen in marketing as we go into the next year? Like now we've people are coming back into the swing of things. Business is starting to pick up again. Some firms are struggling. Some firms are doing well. What do you think the future might hold for everybody?
Well, I think for marketers. So I feel like and so many people have said this, but I feel like with the pandemic, a lot of firms, a lot laid off marketers because marketers are typically one of those positions that unfortunately will get laid off first. But coming about a year into it, they were like, whoops. So, and I'm on the S&PS Dallas board right now. And so I see those job postings coming in and there's a lot of marketer jobs, and they aren't just the jobs that were there before. And they're not just openings that are happening because people are job hopping. Firms are creating new marketing positions, and it is so exciting. Every time I see a different title and I'm like, I know that firm. That isn't someone that's there. I get really excited because it's showing me that firms are valuing marketing. And my hope for the biggest change goes back to my session, but a marketing audit makes marketers so essential and subject experts, and I think with what has been happening, I think this is opening up marketers to really have a seat at a table and the voice in the future.
Yeah, like firms are seeing it as an investment, not just overhead, right? It's not something you just have to have because someone needs to put bids together.
Exactly.
It's an investment you need to make in getting your name out there and positioning and all of the important things that really is, right?
Yes. And we have, we're consultants. So of course our clients are asking our opinion, because that's what consultants give. But with the pandemic, it seems to have increased a little bit, in my opinion. And I'm also hearing from other marketers that it's kind of increased. And they've been more successful at being able to get additional help and additional input and have that voice. So it's kind of a long way around your question. But my hope for change is that marketers, and I think this is happening, and I think it will continue to happen.
Yeah. Do you think that means that, if there's more value seen, do you think that means that there's more buy-in and maybe more participation from principals and technical staff and things like that in the marketing efforts?
I think that is still going to be some baby steps, especially when you're looking at proposals, because engineers, for example, they don't go to school and learn that they're going to have to do proposals when they get out. It's like,
I don't think anyone learns that.
Nobody. But it's especially, frightening for these engineers when you tell them they have to go and present in front of someone. So I think it's also a marketer's job, as we keep growing, to engage the technical staff more and those principals, and to make sure you're effectively communicating what's happening, what you're doing, and where you're going. And I've seen, because I've worked with architects, engineers, construction, landscape, everything before Schaefer. And so it was internal. And working with those guys was fantastic. And ladies, and the ladies, there are several ladies, and they're brilliant. They've got this brainiacness going on. And I was very fortunate that as I was learning exactly what they do, and that's a big part of being a marketer, is you need to have those conversations and have interest in what they do. And I would ask the dumbest questions. I asked an electrical engineer one time the difference between medium and high, and oh my goodness, he got his total geek on.
Dry erase marker. Spreadsheet came out, right?
Oh no, dry erase marker. It was serious. It was dry erase. It was
I actually have always really loved that. I'm a very visual learner, so I always ask lots of questions, and I've worked both architecture and engineering. And when the dry erase marker comes out and someone's sketching out the whole thing about like what it is they do, and you really see like what they're passionate about, and how you can kind of engage them in getting what you need from them.
Absolutely. I asked a rail engineer one time, I was like, so what's a why? Like, well, here's how it works.
That's awesome.
But I've been so lucky, and I am so grateful for those technical people that gave me my AEC foundation information, because I was working with AE, all the MEP and civil, for my first job. And those guys are still very dear to my heart. And never, ever, ever did they make me feel like I was asking a stupid question. And they were always willing to say, oh yeah, you want to know what's going on? You bet.
Yeah.
And so I think that's huge. And internally that helps them become more engaged with you. It builds the relationship, and when you're auditing a proposal process, this is like something you have to look at. Do I have this relationship?
Right.
What can we do to fix this or improve it, or, anyway.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so that's a really great piece of advice, right? Is learning what it is that the company does and kind of all the intricacies of it and everything. And so what would you say is the best piece of advice that you've gotten in your career?
Never stop learning.
Never stop learning. That's a good one.
And I know it's something a lot of people hear, but I was 24, 25 when, and I'm a couple years past that now. But I was very, very early in my career, and someone said that to me, and it was huge, because at that point, at that time in my life, I thought I knew everything already.
As you do.
As you do. And, as you
Until
get
you're a
older,
few years past that, and then you're like, oh, I know nothing.
I knew nothing then. I know nothing now. But they were very kind when they said it, because I had been like, oh, please. I was like, you know what? You need to learn this. And I was like, okay. But that has really stuck with me. And I went back later in my mid-30s and got an MBA because
very cool.
The internet wasn't around when I got the first degrees.
Right.
So it was great. And I love learning. I had my CPSM because I love learning. And again, ironically, Julie and I created our own little study group.
Oh, nice.
Before I worked for Shaper Creative. And so we got our CPSMs together. So, I mean, it's just, and CPSM has been great. Last month, I led the marketing planning session for the Dallas group. And it's just constant learning, constant learning. And I ask a lot of stupid questions so I can keep learning.
How many national conferences have you been to?
I don't know. I'd have to count. It's got to be at least half a dozen. I've been in AEC for 13 years now, I think. And it's half of the time I've been to national conferences. Missed it so much.
Yeah. So now that we've rebranded as Amplify AEC, and are looking to kind of reposition the types of sessions that we have and everything, and programming. What are you most looking forward to, not just as a speaker, but also as an attendee?
Oh, I'm looking forward to all the brains that will be there. I want to pick them all. There is, like, conferences in general, and especially SMPS conferences, there is such a wealth of knowledge. And people are doing things differently, and they're willing to share how they're doing it. And I love that. Because I'm a geek. I'm a marketing geek.
Well, yeah, and you're also so you're presenting your session on marketing audits, but you're also going to do an Ask Me Anything session, which I'm really excited about. That's honestly one of my favorite things that we've added this year, is just the ability to say, I saw this person, I saw their session. I just have some questions, and I just want to be able to sit with them for a few minutes and just say, hey, I'm going to ask you anything I want.
I am so excited about doing it, but I'm also a little nervous.
A little nervous, yeah.
A little nervous. But people can connect with me, and I answer questions later and all that fun stuff too. But I am really excited about the in-person Ask Anything. I think it's really kind of cool.
I think they're going to be pretty fun. And so I think just to kind of wrap up, if you were to describe your session in using just 3 words as like a pitch for why someone should attend yours.
Oh, okay. Relevant, logical, and fun.
Nice. All right. This has definitely been a fun conversation, so I think your session's going to be
good. Oh, I hope so.
About it.
I think marketing audits are fun, but not everyone. A lot of people get scared by them, but don't be scared. It's okay. I got you. Just, it'll be great.
Well, yeah, you'll give everyone the framework for how to approach it, right? And I think that's always what it is, right? Is like people just don't know what they don't know, and like you said, keep learning. Being attending your session, you'll get, hey, this is kind of a workshop on step by step of how to go through this, and
that's right.
And take it piece by piece.
That's right. Don't let it beat you. You got this. We can do anything. Eat an elephant one bite at a time.
So in terms of the events and stuff, we're going to have an event at the World of Coca-Cola, which I'm super excited about.
Oh, yeah, me too. I saw that and I was like, oh, fun.
Yeah, doing it a little bit differently this year. There's going to be a neon theme. So have you gotten your neon outfit yet?
Oh, I haven't seen the neon theme. Oh.
All right, yeah. A little surprise
I haven't,
there.
but I will.
Yeah. I think
little blue light action going.
Right? Yeah, exactly. A little clubby.
That's right. It's going to be so much fun. I'm looking so forward to it.
Yeah, I'm very excited to be back in person again.
Oh, me too. It's
I've
been
missed
way too
everybody a
long.
lot. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we are at 5 minutes, so I'm just going to wrap up. Is there any like kind of last minute thoughts or things that you want to share?
Not that I can think of. Just find me at the conference, even before or after the session. Even if you can't come to the Ask Me Anything, you can find me. I got you. But please, marketing audits are awesome, and I cannot wait for Amplify.
Great. Okay. So thank you so much again for taking the time to speak with me, and to our audience that joined us. I'm so glad that you were able to attend our session today on LinkedIn. And just, a couple of notes. Obviously, if you've enjoyed this conversation, please register for Amplify AEC. We will be in Atlanta this summer from July 18th through the 20th. And it's scrolling on the screen, but for more information and to register, visit amplifyaec.org. To share Pam's session will be on Monday the 18th. And then she'll also be participating in the Ask Me Anything series on July 19th. And so I think that's kind of it for me. Just make sure that you join us in Atlanta and for a really good time and some in-person conversation again. Yeah.
Awesome.
So I think we are still live for a few more minutes. I don't know if anyone has any questions. So I'll give a minute if anyone wants to post something in the comment that they want to ask either me or Pam.
Oh, Marcy. Thanks, Marcy.
Yeah, and I'm just reading Summer's note about not every type of technology or shiny new thing is the right solution, which is very true. And I think, yeah, that's kind of the whole point, right, of the marketing audit is, how do you create a roadmap to limit the distractions and kind of say, hey, this is what we planned on doing and what we're going to work on, right?
That's right. Marketing inside of a firm is not you go out and buy the latest iPhone as soon as it hits the street. Although I love doing that.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much, Pam, for joining us. And thank you, everyone, for attending. And we'll see you all in Atlanta. Bye.